The village of Aku lay nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, its mud brick houses glowing golden in the setting sun. Chinwe sat on a chair facing her grandmother, listening intently as the old woman recounted tales of the River of Echoes, a mythical waterway said to hold the voices of the ancestors. The river has fallen silent, her grandmother whispered, her voice frail. Without its song, the land withers, and the people forget. That night, her grandmother passed away, leaving Chinwe with a cryptic message: find the river, restore its song. The next morning, Chinwe stood before the village elders, her heart pounding. I must go, she declared. The elders exchanged worried glances. The journey is perilous, one warned. The shadow walker guards the river. Many have tried. None have returned. But Chinwe was determined. She packed a satchel with supplies, tied her braids into a high ponytail, and set off at dawn, her loyal dog Jackie trotting beside her. As Chinwe ventured beyond the village, the dense forest loomed ahead, its shadows stretching like grasping hands. She paused at the edge, her resolve wavering. Suddenly, a voice called out, "You're brave to travel alone?" She turned to see a tall, lean man with sharp features and a confident smile. He introduced himself as Emeka, a traveler who claimed to know the way to the River of Echoes. "I've heard the stories," he said. "I can guide you." Chinwe hesitated. There was something unsettling about Emeka, but she had no choice. Together they entered the forest, the trees whispering secrets as they passed. The forest was alive with sound, rustling leaves, distant calls, and faint whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. Chinwe clutched her satchel, her nerves on edge. Jackie growled low in his throat. "Stay close," Emeka warned. "The forest tests those who enter." As they walked, the whispers grew louder, forming words. "Turn back," they hissed. "The river is not for you." Chinwe shook her head, determined to press on. Suddenly, the path split into three. Emeka frowned. "We must choose wisely." Chinwe closed her eyes, listening to the whispers. One path felt warm, inviting. She pointed. "This way." The path led them to a deserted village, its huts crumbling and overgrown with vines. Chinwe stepped inside one, her breath catching at the sight of ancient carvings on the walls. They depicted a great betrayal, a guardian who had failed to protect the river, cursing it to silence. Emeka studied the carvings, his expression unreadable. "The Shadow Walker," he murmured. "This is his doing." Chinwe felt a chill. "We must hurry." As night fell, the air grew cold. Chinwe and Emeka made camp, but sleep eluded her. Around midnight, a figure emerged from the shadows, tall, cloaked in darkness, with glowing red eyes. The Shadow Walker.
"Why do you seek the river?" it demanded, its voice echoing like thunder.
Chinwe stood tall, to restore its song and heal the land. The Shadow Walker laughed, a sound that sent shivers down her spine. "Prove your worth or join the forgotten." The light faded, revealing the River of Echoes, dry and lifeless, its cracked bed stretching into the distance. Chinwe knelt, placing her hand on the earth. "How do I restore you?" she whispered. A voice answered, soft but clear. "Offer a piece of yourself." Chinwe hesitated. What could she offer? Then she remembered her grandmother's necklace, a gift she had treasured. She placed it on the riverbed, tears streaming down her face. "For the land," she said. The ground trembled and water began to bubble up, filling the river once more. As the river flowed, voices rose from its depths, songs, laughter, and stories of the past. Chinwe listened, her heart swelling with pride. The land was healing. Emeka approached, his expression softened. "You've done it," he said. "The curse is broken." And he left. Chinwe returned back to her village. Chinwe stood at the edge of Eku, the village bathed in the golden light of dawn. The journey had changed her. Her braids now adorned with golden cuffs gifted by the river's spirits, her eyes reflecting the wisdom of the ancestors. Jackie bounded ahead, barking joyfully as the villagers emerged from their homes, their faces lighting up at the sight of her. "Chinwe!" the children shouted, running to meet her. The elders followed, their expressions a mix of relief and awe. She had done what no one else could. She had restored the River of Echoes. In the village square, Chinwe recounted her journey, her voice carrying the weight of the stories she had heard from the river. She spoke of the Forest of Whispers, the village of the forgotten, and the Shadow Walker's trial. The villagers listened in rapt silence, their hearts stirred by her courage. "The river's song is alive again," Chinwe declared, holding up the necklace she had sacrificed. "But it is up to us to keep its spirit alive. We must honor the land, our traditions, and each other." The elders nodded, their eyes glistening with pride. "You have brought hope back to Aku," one said. "You are the keeper of our stories now." That evening, the village celebrated with music, dance, and a feast. Chinwe sat at the head of the gathering, her heart full. She had fulfilled her grandmother's wish, but she knew her journey was not over. The river's song was a reminder that the past and present were intertwined, and it was her duty to ensure they remained so. Months passed, and Chinwe settled into her new role as the village storyteller. Each evening, she gathered the children around the sacred tree, her voice weaving tales of the River of Echoes, the ancestors, and the land's enduring spirit. The villagers, inspired by her journey, began to restore the old traditions, planting sacred herbs, honoring the river, and creating art that celebrated their heritage. One day, a group of travelers arrived in Eku, their clothes dusty and their faces weary. Among them was Emeka. Chinwe's heart skipped a beat as she approached him. "What brings you here?" she asked. Emeka smiled, his sharp features softened by the warmth in his eyes. "I came to see the village that raised such a remarkable storyteller," he said, "and to thank you." "Thank me?" Chinwe tilted her head, curious. "You showed me that the past is not something to run from," he admitted. "I've spent my life searching for something to belong to. Watching you restore the river made me realize that belonging is not a place. It's a connection to something greater." Chinwe smiled, her heart swelling with understanding. "You are always welcome here, Emeka. Aku is a village of echoes, and your story is now part of ours." As the sun set, Chinwe led Emeka to the riverbank. The water glimmered in the fading light, its song a gentle hum that filled the air. They sat in silence, listening to the voices of the ancestors, their stories carried on the breeze. Chinwe knew that the River of Echoes would always be a part of her, just as she was a part of it. She had restored its song, but it had also restored her, giving her purpose, strength, and a deeper connection to her roots. The lesson of thought of this story: our past shapes our present. The stories, traditions, and wisdom of our ancestors are not just memories. They are the foundation of who we are. By honoring and preserving them, we ensure that their legacy lives on. Courage requires sacrifice. Chinwe's journey teaches us that true bravery often means giving up something dear to us for a greater good. Whether it's a physical object, a piece of ourselves, or our comfort, sacrifice is a step toward growth and healing. Nature and humanity are intertwined. The river's silence symbolizes the consequences of neglecting our relationship with the land. When we care for the earth, it cares for us in return, creating a harmonious balance. Stories have power. Stories are more than entertainment. They are vessels of history, identity, and hope. By sharing them, we keep our culture alive and inspire future generations. Thank you for joining Chinwe on her journey to restore the River of Echoes. If this story resonated with you, subscribe to stay updated on our new stories.